Hi, in this video we're going to be covering All for Strings Book 1, page 6. This is going to be the first sounds that we're making on our violin. You should have just learned how to hold the bow correctly and how to hold the violin correctly. So now we're going to combine those two things together to make sound. Now sound is music. Music is just an organized sound, and on our violin we want to have a good sound. We want to have a good quality of sound. If you don't have good sound, you're not going to enjoy playing the violin. Now our sound, also known as tone, can have a number of qualities. If you're playing and you very first start playing and you pull the bow and it gets this crunchy sound, or you get this whistly sound, or you get this squeaky sound, there's a number of things that we can do to fix them, and they're actually quite easy to fix. So the first things we want to do is know our ingredients of our tone. Tone is made up of two things: our bow speed, which is how fast we pull the bow, and our bow pressure, which is how much weight we push down with our arm from the bow onto the string. So if you have too much pressure, and go ahead and try this at home, take your bow on your violin and just push down really hard, and you'll get a nasty crunch. And once you know how hard it takes to crunch, now we know, okay, don't press that hard. That's too much pressure. Now our second ingredient was speed and pressure. So if you have too much speed, you'll get a whistly sound. If you have too little speed, you'll get the crunch. So we want to make sure we have a good balance of speed and pressure. Now, looking at page 6 in our All for Strings, you'll notice that song number 1 is only one note. It's called the D string, and there are two sections to it. There's the note D, and then there is a rest. The rest is what looks like that upside down hat right next to the letter D. So first what we're going to do is find our bow grip. Make sure that you have a good bow grip, that we're not holding it like a sword, and that our hand isn't leaning to the right. We want to make sure our hand is leaning over towards our index finger, and that we don't have a banana thumb. We have a good bent thumb with our pinky on top of the stick. Now when we go to playing position, remember we want to hold it up like the Statue of Liberty, turn it over, and then land it on our shoulder like a plane. From here, all we need to do is make sure that our fingers are pointing straight up to the sky. We don't want them touching the strings yet. Just point them straight up, and then place your bow at the frog here by where your hand is, in between the bridge and the fingerboard. So we don't want our bow way out here, and we don't want it way over here. That's where we get a squeaky sound. We want it right here, in between the bridge and the fingerboard, and right at the frog. Not out here at the middle, not out here at the tip, right at the frog where our hand is. And once you have it there, make sure you're on the D string, and then you're going to apply a little bit of arm weight and pull. And you want to go all the way to the tip. Now to play song number 1, called D string, we're just going to count to 4. So we're going to play the note D one more time and count to 4, and then we'll count to 4 with our rest. So song number 1 goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4. Now you may have noticed I played it twice. We played D with the rest 2 times. That's because in your music there is a rest. The rest, it looks like a face on its side. It has 2 dots and then a line. That just means we play it twice. And we're going to do that with all of the ones on this page, actually. We're going to repeat them all. So when you repeat these, I recommend don't lift your bow up in between. Just play your bow, freeze, and then go up again. Now, looking at song number 2, it's called 2 Ds. We're going to do the same thing, but there's 2 Ds now. So we set our bow at the frog, right here where our hand is. Double check you're on the D string. And this time, we want to make sure that we're not playing 2 strings at a time. So if you hear this sound, that just means that your bow angle is changing. And the way to fix that is really concentrate on the horsehair as it makes contact with your D string. And you'll notice if it starts to shift, if your hand drops, it'll pull to the A. If your hand goes up, it'll go up to the G. So we want to stay on the D string only with good speed and good pressure, counting to 4 for each note. So let's try this. This is song number 2, 2 Ds. So place our bow at the frog. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4, stop. That's the end. So that's song number 2. Now, all the way through, because this is your first time making sounds on your violin, you might have squeaks, you might have some scratches. All you need to do is be a detective and ask yourself this question, 3 questions. Am I playing my pressure? Do I have enough pressure pushing down? Do I have too much? If it's crunching, you have too much. If it's whistly, you have too little. So we want to make sure we have just the right amount of pressure. We want to make sure we have just the right amount of speed. So make sure that your bow isn't crawling along too slow. Make sure you're pulling it all the way through as you count to 4. And the third thing is we want to make sure we're in the right place. If your bow is way out here, or if it's way up here on the bridge, you're not going to get a good sound. So we want it to be between the bridge and the fingerboard, right in the middle. If it's hard to see, if it's hard to tell where it's at from where you're standing, what you can do is stand in front of a mirror to the side. So if you're facing where the mirror is, then you just look at the mirror and you'll see if your bow is sliding around or going crooked. We want to make sure it just stays straight all the way through. Okay, now song number 3. Go ahead and look at number 3. It's called A string. You'll notice it's exactly the same as number 1, D string, but now we're on the A string. So all we have to do is change our bow angle. So if you set your bow at the frog on the A string, in between the bridge and the fingerboard, and we pull the bow for 4 counts with a rest and a repeat. So let's play together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4. There's number 3. Now let's look at number 4. Again, same thing, just 2 A's. So we place our bow at the frog. We're going to play 2 A's, a down bow and an up bow. 1, 2, A, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4, repeat. And we play A again. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4, off. Okay, then we look at number 5. Now you'll notice in your book there's a red box that says prepare bow, and there is an asterisk, a little star. So when you see that star in your music, so if you look, for example, at song number 5, it's called D and A, and you'll see a D, and then a star, a rest, and an A. The star just means we're going to take that time to change our bow angle, because we don't want to go straight from D and then start playing A, because then we might play both strings at the same time. So after you play D, freeze the bow, change to the next string, and then go. So let's try number 5 together. It starts on D, rest, A, rest, repeats. So here we go. Bow between the bridge and the fingerboard, right in the middle. 1, 2, D, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, A. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, rock your bow to D. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, rock your bow to A. 1, 2, 3, 4, and rest. Ready, stop. That's the end. So that's number 5. It's a little bit longer now because we have a repeat. We have to do it twice. But you're going slow enough with a rest that we get to change our bow direction, our bow angle, and make sure we're playing 1 string at a time. All right, now the last one on the page, number 6. This is called fast preparations. It's not that we're playing fast. What we're doing is we're taking out our rests. You might notice it just goes D, A, D, A. There are no rests in this one. So what we need to do is, as soon as we're done playing D, we're going to change our bow to the A string. And then as soon as we're done playing A, we're going to go back to the D string. So we set our bow on the D string. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, rock. 1, 2, 3, 4, rock to A, 2, 3, and it repeats, so D again, 2, 3, A, 1, 2, 3, D, 1, 2, 3, And that's the first page. So in this page, we're mainly focusing on two things. We want to make sure we have really good tone, good sound, and remember, sound is made up of two ingredients, our speed and our pressure. So double check those things, make sure they're good. We also want to focus on our technique, making sure that we're holding the violin up, making sure we're not letting it droop. Make sure that our posture is good. If you need to review posture, go ahead and take some time to do that before you keep playing your violin, because we don't want to get into any habits where we hold the violin over here. Make sure it covers the seam of your shoulder. The second thing is your bow grip. Make sure that your bow grip stays true all the way through, because what will start to happen is as you focus all of your attention on the sound and playing, and you're excited playing your bow on the violin, what happens is our bow grip tends to get really poor and we lose all of our good technique. So every once in a while, anytime you're stopping in between songs, just reset, go back to rest position, find your bow grip, find your playing position, and then you should be a-okay to start playing the next song. So that does it for page 6. Keep practicing. If you get really good at playing these slow bows, these long 4-count bows, you can move on to the pepperoni pizza bowing that we've covered in class and in another video as well. So you could take the same notes, the same open strings, and just play pepperoni pizza, pepperoni pizza, pepperoni pizza, pepperoni pizza. And it's just as good practice. So do your best with this page. Listen. Remember, your ears are your most important tool to figuring out whether you have good tone or not. And when you have bad tone, be a detective. Bad tone is not a bad thing, so long as you can figure it out and fix it. Make sure that we have good tone all the way through. So that's it for today. Happy practicing.